Hello, I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com.
And I'm Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh Horror Movies podcast. And this is At the Movies Again, a weekly Siskel and Ebert tribute movie review podcast, formerly known as Roger and Me, aka Roger Ebert and Me. It's a show hosted by two film critics where we cover every new theatrical release and every new streaming release every Friday in the iconic format pioneered by Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. This week, we have 6 new release movies. How did I keep up with Mark? I think I missed one.
Yeah, just one.
And it was just a documentary. And it was a documentary, so sometimes I claim those don't count. Though this one sounded fun and I wanted to watch it. But then Mark filed a review that said, meh, so I didn't get to it. But that movie is called The Python Hunt, for those interested. It's about Florida, I guess, at large. Kind of,
yeah,
in a way. So check out Mark's review on markreviewsmovies.com for that one and all the other movies we're talking about today. You can find Mark's reviews in print there, and you can find my reviews in print on Yahoo Entertainment. And this first movie we're talking about is a sequel to a movie that came out in 2021. It was one of the first movies back in New York City, I remember, post-pandemic, because I had traveled to Connecticut and to other parts of the state where movie theaters opened earlier, so I could go see that Russell Crowe movie where he was angry and driving. It wasn't called Drive Angry, though. It was Unhinged. But Mortal Kombat 2 was the first movie that opened, maybe the second. It was like Kong. Kong was around the same time. All I remember is Mortal Kombat came out. I got myself excited because it was just a new movie opening. And then it was so disappointing and so bad. And then I let myself get excited for this one, Mortal Kombat 2, because I thought the trailer looked fun. And the trailer looked like it was a decided, forget the last one. We're going to do something else and just do what we want to do. And yet they fucked it up again. Maybe because they got the same idiot back to make it again. Sorry to this man. Here's the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry. You won't.
Yo! Send me back. I want to go back.
Maybe I didn't pay enough attention to the trailer because it's not that good. I just think I thought the idea of Carl Urban as a, Jean-Claude Van Damme level 90s action star kind of thrust into the Mortal Kombat is a fun idea, more fun than anything in the last one, at least the right level of silly. And this movie is constantly teetering between incredibly self-serious, which does not do anybody any favors, and then silly, which would work if it weren't directed by a total amateur who already fucked this up once and has now got a chance to fuck it up all again. I was very disappointed with this movie.
I felt it was a slight improvement, but even then, it's just kind of a theoretical thing about it being an improvement, because I think it does take itself a little less seriously than the first one. The first movie, the fact that it did take itself so dreadfully seriously, it kind of undid it, because it is a silly, ridiculous premise of having these. Even all the backstory from the video games doesn't make any sense to cram in here. The point is, it's all about the fighting. That's all it should be about. Taking that mythology seriously in the first movie undid it. This movie at least kind of has some fun when it gets to the fights. But the big problem is, now that it's all about those fights, you see exactly how poorly choreographed those fights remain, even in this installment. How they become just eruptions of visual effects eventually that distract from the fact that you are watching actual performers doing this stuff in theory. So you're not able to appreciate any kind of physical, prowess on display. You're just watching a bunch of noise, and you're watching a bunch of digital blood, and you're watching a movie about Mortal Kombat where death has no meaning, apparently, because characters from the first movie that died are resurrected. This is another bit of sequel baiting, just like with the first movie, where it's promising sort of trying to bring back some other characters maybe who might not make it to the end of the movie. It's frustrating. I don't even know really what to say about it beyond just the fact that it's more of the same, with maybe a few more jokes and a bit more appreciation for the fact that it is based on a video game that is just supposed to be about fighting and blood and violence and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And
But
why
it's
is
still
a
essentially the
movie-
same movie.
Why is a movie that's about fighting? Why is one of the first lines in the movie, "Strength is not a closed fist, Katana"? I'm like, maybe strength could be a closed fist in a fucking Mortal Kombat movie. It also has like a Spirit Halloween costume quality to it. It looks really cheap despite being expensive. Like a episode of Xena or something is more than like a big budget movie. So I just think the tone's all wrong when it's taking itself seriously. And then when it's finally silly and just getting to the fights, you're right. It's just so choppily edited and poorly put together that it's actually like insulting to the genre of action blockbusters to me. Because I'm like, this is such an easy layup of a movie that just exists ostensibly to have some fight choreographers who are good at their job put together some scenes that are fun to watch. So it's a real shame that they can't even do that. Like, those scenes are so poorly put together. There's no action or fights that are really worth anything. Really bad looking rubbery CGI instead of like stuntmen doing the stuff. It just looks bad. It's all bad. I can't believe that they fucked it up again in like new ways. Because the last one I remember being bad because it was like the plot of it was trying to prevent the Mortal Kombat tournament from happening, which I was like, that doesn't really make any sense for what I want to see in this movie. And this one like makes up for it ostensibly, and yet it does a bunch of other stuff wrong. I was immediately out. There's literal fan service in this movie, Mark. We get to see how Katana gets her fan blades, which is like kind of a real good summation of what's wrong with them when you try to like make a movie like this in the superhero origin mold, where it's like you have to show how Jack's got his arms in the last one or whatever the fuck else. And this one does the same thing over and over again. I thought it was really bad.
I think the production design doesn't look that great either. All those locales, they start to repeat themselves. Like, there are two fights that are set in apparently different villages, even though they look the same. It's just the second village is slightly darker, I'm guessing, so you don't pay attention to the fact that it looks so familiar. They just start looking darker and dimmer.
Yeah,
and
I mean, the digital backgrounds look like shit the whole time too.
Yeah.
It's like they could have also built a set or two, and instead they just make it all like, who cares? Just put them in some shitty costumes and put them in front of a blue screen.
I think my favorite little thing of just trying to rip off some element of a video game is the scoreboard that drops from the sky.
Yes.
Just hovering there in the sky, giving teams extra lives when necessary too, on top of it all. It's
yeah, I mean,
Well,
if it leaned into those ideas and like leaning into the it's a video game actually element, it would be fun. It's just so decidedly at every turn trying not to be fun, I feel like. And like, why is it so caught up in plottiness, like chasing this obelisk or whatever the fuck?
it's an amulet.
Amulet.
It's an amulet.
Like, there's some like they're way too plotty for like, who cares?
Yeah.
Anytime they're talking, it's a mistake, and it's most of the movie. So it's just I think it's somehow worse than the last one, despite it trying to apologize for the last one. So it's a 1.5 star movie for me, which is probably about what I rated the last one.
Okay. The big problem with the talking is, what can they say? They can't say anything. These characters don't have any personality. All they do is they talk about, we gotta win the fight. The fight's important. Earth's at stake. We got to get the amulet. The amulet's really important. Earth's at stake. It's just over and over again. It's the same dialogue. 1.5 stars for me for Mortal Kombat 2. I gave it like 0.5 star more than I gave the 1 star I gave to the first one. So I think technically maybe I had a little bit more fun, but as soon as it gets into that, into that
I mean,
pattern.
you also agree, right, that it has the energy of like, forget what happened last time. Let's just do it.
Kind of.
So like, why? Because like that's where I get confused. I'm like, okay, it seems like they understood that they have to pivot. But then why would they get the entire creative team back, including the director who was a first-time filmmaker? Like he's a commercial director from Australia. He's not like a known entity. So the fact that they gave him a chance, he, in my opinion, blew it. But then the movie was a hit, quote unquote, in theaters and on streaming, I guess. So lo and behold, it's enough, I guess.
I mean, and don't forget, it did release on streaming in addition to in theaters, because that was, you brought it up, it was COVID times, and maybe that affected the box office enough that they could keep his salary about the same as the first movie. And why not? I don't know why they brought him back. It doesn't help a filmmaker, I think, to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It would be nice to try to branch out and maybe see what you could do instead of this, especially when it doesn't work twice in a row. I mean, it'll probably make money, whatever.
Yeah, it'll probably make money enough where we get a third one. And
yeah,
looking forward to him getting a third chance to completely botch what I just can't get over. Like, just hire some people who do the like fight choreography in movies that people praise.
Yeah,
like, get the John Wick guys.
The John Wick movies do that. The John Wick movies have
Let
done
87 North make these. Like, just like, why would you like? I just don't understand the concept. Like, conceptually botched to me, when it's just like they should be focusing on that, and instead they're focusing on like a million other things that suck, including like bad visual effects. So really disappointing, really bad. This series sucks. I feel like the 90s ones are better, but they're not like great movies or anything. None of them have been great.
Yeah, I still cannot. I know I rewatched Mortal Kombat, and I've watched Annihilation for the first time before the first movie came out. Annihilation's awful, obviously, but yeah, I don't even remember the very first Mortal Kombat movie, the very, very first one, even after having watched
it's a Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
I think it might be.
Yeah, it's not memorable at all. None of these are.
Not. Nope.
Bummer. You know what is memorable? Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, the tour, live in 3D, a film co-directed by James Cameron, because it's also directed by Billie Eilish. Is that the other credit? I imagine it is. I haven't actually checked the credits. I assume that's what happened, because watching the movie, you definitely get the feel that you can feel her authorship throughout the movie in ways I was really impressed with. Here's the trailer for Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, the James Cameron 3D concert movie.
It's your show. It's your creative vision. This is going to blow people's minds. We're gonna put a 3D camera in a cube with you.
Awesome.
And we'll probably be able to move that to different positions.
So how does that even work, just out of curiosity?
We're going to have to play some games, but we'll make it look great.
How hard would it be to get a camera on the inside of this box screen?
We want to do it.
Okay, good. The day of a show is for me, it just feels like any day at all. I just feel like I'm like going to hang out with my friends. Here I go.
I'm glad the trailer showed that scene, because I think that really helps show how unique of a perspective the concert film has. Like, you've never seen the behind the scenes during the concert film to show like how Billie Eilish got to the stage in that secretive way where she's suddenly there. And like, it's because she put herself in a crate and got crated through the crowd, and she brought a camera with her. And then I was like kind of blown away by that already. And then thinking like, oh, wow, James Cameron doing amazing, fun things in 3D. And then a minute later, the movie reveals this was actually Billie's idea. And it really shows that she has such an, point of view, that not just for her show, but for this movie. I think it's a really well-made concert film with very subtle 3D that makes you feel like you're there. Like the arms appearing in front of the camera.
I had to look back at the projector a couple times and see if anybody was raising their hands up in front of the camera, in front of the projector.
It's really cool. Like, you can see like actual arms in front of you. Like, oh my God, it was, and I was the only person literally in the theater, so it felt really special. But yeah, truly immersive. I was commending him mentally. Turns out it was her idea. Then you watch her live loop something in a room, which was really cool to see someone do that in an arena show. And, I was actually moved by it, and like just the earnestness of the depiction of the fan artist relationship. Like, it's not just about Billie Eilish. This is a movie to me about what music can mean to people writ large, and how the way that the movie centers the fans, and how each of those people have like a story about what the music means to them and how personal it is. And, I'm an easy cry. I find like musicals generally deeply moving because of this universal quality where they just start speaking their emotions out. So this, in the same way that a musical is inherently earnest and emotional, I found this inherently earnest and emotional. Does that make any sense to you at all?
Yeah, it does. I found her and the performance itself to be very sincere in terms of just connecting with the audience when she actually sits down on that then the edge of the stage and reaches out for them to grab her arm, because she knows how much that means, because she was a fan of other musicians at times. She says that at one point during one of those interviews, which I think is a big problem. We'll talk about that later. I think not like a big problem. I think it's a distraction. She says she wants to be the kind of artist that she would have loved when she was growing up, and you feel that, just that connection with the audience. And she is an incredible performer.
I didn't really know anything about her until this, and I I've heard the songs on the radio and stuff, I'm sure, but I was really impressed by the songwriting, the performance, the stage show, all of it. It's really impressive.
Yeah, the stagecraft and everything is fantastic. Just the lighting, the big theater and the round experience of just this giant stage in the center of a stadium, and yet it still can feel intimate when she sits down with an acoustic guitar and a couple of backup singers, and that's all that there is to the performance, is just her singing. Or that moment where she tells a crowd of like more than 75,000 people, I just need you to stay quiet. This is the only time I'm going to ask you for like a minute. And everybody does, so that she can do that live loop. That's a stunning moment. Just, you expect a big pop star to be able to get everybody on their feet. 75,000 people on their feet, that's easy. To get everybody to just stay silent, completely silent for a minute so she could do that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's that scene where they're talking to random fans, and one of them's like, I did all this talking to my parents, I did therapy, but nothing could compare to like listening to this music and it speaking to my problems. So I just really love a movie that like is acknowledging tacitly kind of that people filter art through their own experience, and that's a great thing, and the power of that, and like an artist that understands that is really cool for me. I just really appreciate that the movie like highlights that part of it, because it's not just about the show and what it means for Billie, but I also like that you see what a stage show like that looks like from her perspective too, which like, not like a revolutionary thing or anything, but it is interesting, and it's not something you see all the time.
It's not, because she sings that like GoPro during Bad Guy, which is a song that everybody has heard so many times at this point. You're like, how are you going to make that any different? But doing it from her perspective with the camera, just showing, what it's like running around on stage and what the audience reacting to that song is like, it's really neat.
Yeah, it's just a really, really strong concert film. I mean, it's a, what's a better endorsement than like, I wasn't a fan of this person before, and now I watched this concert film. I'm like, yeah, I could listen to that. That was good. I appreciated all of that, and I was very impressed, and it was, easy to bop your head to, and very impressive filmmaking. I thought this was great. If you're not an Avatar fan, this technically might be James Cameron's best movie since Titanic. 3 stars for Billie Eilish. Hit Me Hard and Soft, the 3D live tour, whatever it's called.
I think it is just Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft on the screen, but they're marketing it as, the tour live at 3D. I am also giving it 3 stars. I think the one downside that's maybe keeping me from rating it a bit higher is I think that those behind the scenes interviews, I don't think Cameron feels out of place doing that. It does have sort of like, I've heard of you, I kind of know who you are. Let me ask you some vague questions about fame. But Eilish expands on them to the fact to make them feel unique, and specifically about her. I think that's more about her than it is about Cameron doing that. It would have been interesting. I don't think he would have gotten away with it or even let it happen, but it would have been interesting to just have Cameron be the technical assist credit or something, a consultant on the 3D element, and just let Billie Eilish take full control of just showing us the concert as it was, and instead of all that behind the scenes stuff, which sometimes gets in the way and distracts from the momentum of the show.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it took the James Cameron element for me to get in the door. So like, I guess I appreciate that his name. Maybe he put that on for the people like me who like wouldn't have gone unless James Cameron's name was above the title or whatever. But yeah, I was quite impressed, and again, impressed with the degree to which the movie makes clear this is like a product of Billie Eilish's creativity and view and authorship as much as Cameron's as a film. So yeah, 3 stars for me. Very strong 3 stars.
Me too.
All right. Let's talk about The Sheep Detectives, a movie that I feel like had people not said it was really great, I probably wouldn't have made time for. But people said it was really great, and I made time for it. And people were right. It's delightful. Here's the trailer for The Sheep Detectives.
Well groomed, and each day I read out loud to them mysteries, whodunits. I know who the killer was. I like to pretend that they follow along, but they're only sheep.
Ah! Why would he stop there?
He was just about to say who the killer was.
This is torture. It was the maid, right?
When I wake up.
Wake up! Everybody wake up!
We found George on the grass, and he's not moving.
What?
Lily, tell us what to do.
Our shepherd was murdered, and we shall solve the crime. George was visited by someone he knew well enough to offer a drink.
Not much of a story for you, I'm afraid.
This movie seems like it has a one joke premise, but it treats it so earnestly and gets into like through the animals very human ideas in a way that I was ultimately moved by. Like, why am I moved by the interior lives of these sheep? It's incredible. Tell me about this movie.
Yeah, it is essentially a one joke premise of sheep who listen to their shepherd telling them detective stories every night. Shepherd's murdered, and the sheep decide we're going to solve the murder because we know what we're doing because we listen to these stories.
I love the gag up top where he's like, yeah, I do this every night, but they're definitely not listening to me. And then like he closes the book one night on a cliffhanger, and then we cut to the talking sheep for the first time. Like, oh, fuck, come on. I need to know what happens next. What the hell? It's a good bit.
It is good. It is good. But you're right. It does bring up ideas about grief and about death and things that you don't necessarily expect from a jokey movie like that. It does take the characters at least earnestly to give them lives and thoughts, and this conflict of sheep being able to forget everything that's painful and harmful and hurtful to them if they want to, and then that being a problem, obviously, not only for solving a crime but also in life, because sometimes you have to deal with the hard stuff in life. I think it does have some good messaging and lessons to take away from it beyond that, and it is just delightful because the sheep they're all visual effects, but they're done really well. You know, we're far away from Babe using actual, animatronics and making them look convincing. Now, everything has to be digital, but they don't go overboard with it. They don't try to turn the faces human or anything like that. They just give them enough expression that you're not feeling uncanny valley sensation watching it. But yeah, the story is fun. I think the mystery is decent enough. I like the human characters, especially the cop played by Nicholas Braun from Succession.
Yes.
And Molly Gordon. Molly Gordon's the daughter who returns to town to check everything out. She's good too. Yeah, it's a very fun movie that is thankfully more serious about itself in a way that I wasn't expecting, but I think it earns taking itself seriously.
Yeah, I didn't expect anything from this movie, and I am surprised the trailer gave away what happens to Jackman, because I was also like, oh wow, I thought he was the star of this movie, and he's maybe not. The star of this movie truly is a cavalcade of talking sheep alongside, Nicholas. We just said Braun, is that his name? And is it Emma Thompson? Who am I thinking of?
Yeah, Emma Thompson is the lawyer.
Yeah, and you already mentioned Molly Gordon. It's written, as I mentioned, I think last week, by Craig Mazin, the guy who wrote HBO's very serious award-winning show Chernobyl. And yeah, he really elevates the material into something that, could have been just a silly lark, but it's actually a fun, accessible movie for both kids and adults that isn't afraid to get at the quietly devastating emotional truths along the way in a lighthearted way, though. And it's all funny along the way. Like, I mean, the sheeps think that when sheeps die, they become clouds, and there's no actual death. They just become clouds, and you can see them forever. And like, yeah, there's something interesting about the group, like how they group think and decide that they don't want to face the harsh realities, and how the shepherd dying kind of forces them to. So it is just kind of this strangely moving pontification on accepting death in the form of a talking sheep mystery movie. And a lot of people are like, it's Babe meets Knives Out, which is basically what's going on in a long line. If you want to distill it to a log line, but it works. It's a lot of fun. 3 stars for the Sheep Detectives.
Yeah, I am also giving it 3 stars.
All right, now we're gonna disagree a little bit, I think, on this one, but I guess I'm kind of in the middle on it, so maybe we just won't disagree that much. But here's a trailer for a Netflix movie, the second Netflix movie that I'm aware of about how octopi are smart and are just intelligent creatures, remarkably bright creatures, one could say. That's the name of this movie. It's based on a book, a bestseller. It stars Sally Field and Lewis Pullman, and Alfred Molina as the voice of a octopus. Here's the trailer for Remarkably Bright Creatures on Netflix now.
For the most part, are inept creatures.
Tobit, I'm not touching some random kid's gum.
I'm not asking you to chew it. Just get it off the floor.
From this side of the tank, I've seen it all.
I suppose you're the person they hired to take over for me?
I really need this job.
Circular motions, not up and down.
Of all the humans, I suppose I mind the cleaning lady the least.
There is a right way and a wrong way to do things.
She's insane. It's all she has.
Hello, my lovelies.
She's been through a lot. The way she lost her son.
Tobit had a son.
Okay, so perhaps a little saccharine, a little mawkish, a little corny. These are probably all the words Mark's thinking of. But like a movie I would have easily recommended that my mom watch. It's like an easy, cozy, heartwarming movie that I feel like ultimately won me over because it's got Sally Field and Lewis Pullman elevating their characters in this movie that's just like kind of treacly and about how life has ups and downs and how fascinating humanity is from the perspective of an octopus in an aquarium. It's a very gimmicky thing, but I think it works well enough. Tell me why you disagree.
I think Field and Pullman are doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and I it's almost worthwhile. I found some of it to be affecting when it's just about their characters and their relationship that's bonding, because Pullman shows up in the small seaside town. Field is a widow who is living alone. She's thinking about moving into a senior residence facility, and she works at the aquarium at night, and they end up connecting through a bunch of contrived circumstances, and I found that touching. And then you throw in the octopus, voiced by Alfred Molina, offering thoughts about life from the octopus's perspective and how he sees humans and how
these creatures are so XYZ. Like that's how he's the whole time.
They don't talk to each other. They don't figure things out. Like, okay, yeah, you're just kind of explaining why the plot kind of makes sense on this cosmic level, on this humanitarian level of why we do the way things we do. You're just kind of justifying it by way of an octopus. Maybe it works better on the page. I don't know. I haven't read the book. I don't know if I'm very interested in reading it after watching the movie. It might work better. Just the concept of the octopus going through his thoughts and interacting with these humans in different ways and helping the plot along. You brought up a bunch of words. You brought up a bunch of words at the beginning I would have used, but the big one I would use.
I tried to say it before you could. Yes.
Yeah. Manipulative. It is emotionally manipulative.
It's inherently emotionally manipulative based on like the very structure of what it's doing. I would say, like, the omniscient octopus narrator or whatever who is gonna, these two lonely people come together, but like without actually doing anything. I don't know. Nothing in this movie is a surprise. Everything unfolds exactly as you expect. It's a little clunky along the way for me. But I don't know. Sally Field's so charming.
Yep.
Lewis Pullman's is good in his role too. It just like it's like just enough for me where I'm like debating if it's a 2.5 star or a very soft 3, but like it's an easy recommend for the kind of person that would like this movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I get
if you're
that.
the type of person who likes easygoing, cozy watch that isn't very challenging, like this movie will scratch that itch. So like, I want to be there for those people while also acknowledging that like, yes, it is manipulative, but like inherently, that's like the whole premise to me is that. So I have to, if you accept that and how cliche and sappy it is, it kind of ticks the boxes it needs to. So I don't know where I'm at with it, but
what I'm getting at is I think it could have gotten away maybe with being emotionally manipulative and doing all this stuff. If it were actually about the people and just about the people, I think bringing in the octopus and letting the octopus be the narrator and seeing everything and knowing everything about these humans makes it on this other level of manipulative that it doesn't need to be. Why can't it just be about the people? Why does it have to include the octopus?
Because I don't know what
it's
the hook is. Yeah,
it's a hook that sells
it's a
books
hook for a book. Yeah.
Yep.
Book
exactly.
Hook. It's a post.
I'm so obvious.
Maybe it was written. I have to assume it was written post My Octopus Teacher, or whatever that thing is called. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's a coincidence. But it feels like we're in like a wave.
I'm pretty sure it's a fairly recent.
Well, that would explain it.
So
then,
I think, I think maybe somebody watched My Octopus
and
Teacher
Netflix has both, by the way. I'm pretty
I know,
sure which is pretty funny. It's funny that it happened twice. Is the whatever that meme expression is.
Yeah.
So how many stars are you?
I'm giving. I was about to say My Octopus Teacher. I'm giving Remarkably Bright Creatures 2 stars.
Just to overcorrect, I'll give it 3 stars.
I knew you were gonna do it.
If you had given it 2.5, you could have saved the fate.
I know.
It would have just been 2.5s. But we both have to be honest with ourselves, and this is what happens. So 3 stars for me, but it's it's a soft 3. That's okay. Still 3. And there's a lot of caveats with that 3.
A lot of caveats.
It is what it is.
I think you're kind of washing them over too.
I just try to think of the person that would. I don't want to be condescending ever when I'm talking. I'm like,
yeah, but how did you feel about it?
I don't know.
That's what people want to hear. That's what they're here for.
I'm being honest, I think, in how I felt. It was good enough for me, but like I knew what it was doing while it was doing it, kind of thing. Where like I acknowledge you're being manipulative, but Sally Fields really
went along for the ride.
Yeah, she went along for the ride, and Sally Fields really is nice to see.
She is,
have a nice role like this, even though the movie is whatever. So yeah, it's okay. Couples Weekend, a movie that was formerly called A Tree Falls in the Woods, I believe, when it premiered at Tribeca Film Festival, where it should have stayed forever because it's a very Tribeca movie. Here's a trailer for Couples Weekend, which is very much going for people will confuse this for Couples Retreat maybe and watch it or rent it. A movie that like is a cable staple that makes a lot of money still. It's such a funny generic title. Couples Weekend with Alexandra Daddario, Josh Gad, was it Ashley Park, and David Diggs. Here's a trailer.
Thank you all for being here for this Christmas, New Year's weekend where we will be relaxing.
Yes.
To old friends. Cheers.
Sure you don't want to come? Okay. Oh, wow. Is that?
I'm sorry, what?
No.
You mother...
We have to tell them.
We're not doing that.
We have to tell them.
We're not doing that.
Let it go!
I'm glad you guys got to see our faces during that trailer because I forgot to remove them. I was running around doing stuff. Anyway, that was the trailer for Couples Weekend. I think A Tree Falls in the Woods a better title because it kind of gets at what the premise is without saying it. Couples Weekend means nothing. Tell me what the premise is for those that didn't watch the trailer and watch us watching the trailer.
Yeah, Alexandra Daddario and David Diggs play one married couple. Josh Gad and Ashley Park play the other married couple. They go to a cabin in the woods for the Christmas/New Year's sort of holiday time. And it turns out that Josh Gad and Daddario's characters, their spouses, they catch their spouses having sex with each other in the cabin and then have to decide what to do about that. Gad doesn't want to say anything because he just thinks everything will go wrong. Daddario's character says that they need to confront them. and it just kind of hits a wall at that point. There's not really much to do with that comedic premise. And then something happens that genuinely surprised me, and everything just kind of falls into place for a while for me. I felt like, oh, this movie is actually going to tackle this. It's going to talk about it. It's going to let these characters be themselves and be who they are and discuss stuff on a real level that you kind of can understand. You can see both sides of it. And you get the characters like, oh, this is kind of working.
Yeah.
And then that falls away.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it eventually gets to a place where it's like this very stagey, stripped down relationship movie about these characters and their relationships and what it means when they're dishonest with each other and stuff like that. Like it gets at real issues in relationships that I thought was interesting. But you're right. I'm glad it also, because I really thought for a while it was like, okay, so they're gonna just pretend like they're gonna go through the whole movie being like, say it, don't say it. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then then something changes and the movie changes, and I was with it too. I don't think it ultimately goes anywhere that interesting though. Just kind of I don't know what I wanted from this premise, but it didn't like stick the landing, I guess.
Yeah, I think the need to kind of be a comedy to maybe, I don't know, maybe to appeal to an audience and just say we're not going to do a serious relationship drama. We're going to have comedic elements to it too. So that's that opening premise. And then you have another gimmick that shows up in the third act that turns it back into a comedy with the I don't want to give it away. It's so random though. I don't think if I gave it away, it'd be like, how is that a thing? But it is. It turns into another gimmicky sort of comedy. And I think it does kind of lose the honesty that it has for a while. And the performances are pretty good too. I think Gad might be overplaying just how desperate he is at times. And it doesn't quite work compared to the other actors, but I think it's still a decent enough performance for the material. But man, there's a section here that I think is really strong.
The section that is like these characters are stuck in a house together. They all hate each other. And they've all taken a different room of the house, but they're not talking to each other because they're fighting. Like there was funny dynamics happening. I was like, okay, I get what they're going for here. And you're right. There's a whole section that I think does work, but it is kind of surrounded by sections that don't work as well. So it does ultimately become a disappointing experience overall. But it is like one of those like, I think it's an affectionate 2.5 for me, where I'm like, there's interesting ideas in this movie. I like the performances, but it doesn't stick the landing, and it doesn't stick the beginning either.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's like a decent relationship drama sandwich with the bread just being like a couple of forced comedic gimmicks that don't work.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's nice to see all these actors. I feel like it's very stagey. Maybe they all could do a play together and it would probably be pretty good. But yeah, 2.5 for me for couples weekend.
Yeah, 2.5 as well for me.
All right. The last movie of the week is Affection, starring Jessica's Roth, I guess, and another guy.
I just got that.
Thank you. Joseph Cross. It's written and directed by B.T. Meza. I think this movie is so halfway interesting. Here is the trailer for Affection.
Ethan coming back?
No.
It's going to take a little time. It always does. After a traumatic event, the brain can pull pieces of information into false memories.
What kind of stuff do we like to do together?
Hide and seek. I'll go first.
1, 2, 3.
Well, that trailer's selling a movie that this isn't, but tell me what it is, because I really do think there's a really cool idea at the center of this movie, even though I ultimately don't know if the movie's worthwhile. And Jessica Roth is giving 180% to this role, which is like, I don't know why. I was really impressed with the degree to which this was like an intense performance that you kind of feel. I don't know.
Yeah, she is very good. She's generally very good. I kind of wish she would get out of the horror thing. I know that once you kind of get stuck in horror, you're
Yep.
stuck in horror
Yes.
or romantic comedies or dramas. But I really do wish she would find some other material because she's very good here and she do great with a serious role without all the hook, with all that stuff. Anyway, she is a woman who wakes up from a car accident and doesn't have any memory, or at least she doesn't have the correct memory of the husband and daughter that she apparently has and life that she apparently has. This sets up such a really good mystery to the degree that I was watching and like, how is this even possible? This doesn't make any sense. Like even the premise you're setting up of like, oh, it's just a fake memory because you were in a car accident. Like that's cheap. How is this trick working? What is the gimmick here? And that doesn't always happen where I'm just trying to figure out exactly even what is going on and how this could work.
Yes. And
I really like that part of it.
And I think the explanation, which I don't think I can give away here.
No.
I think the explanation is awesome, actually.
Oh,
the like literal, I think I mentioned that, I think we talked about this already somewhere, maybe off mic. Like I think the literal, I can't tell you what it is. There's an explanation that is like that puts this plot mechanic into motion. I just think that specific thing is inspired and a really cool idea. Not to say that this movie does the right thing by it. I just think it's a cool idea, and then the rest of it is what it is. But I was like, oh, that's a good explanation. And then I don't know about the rest of it.
I'm not entirely sold on the actual explanation in terms of what it
Why?
is.
Yeah.
I again, because it's hard to talk about.
I know, sorry.
But like the opening bit is all grounded in reality. This is what it is. Here's this. And once that explanation arrives, the movie turns into something completely different, and it adds an element that is not grounded at all. That's not grounded in reality. It's not grounded in anything. That's all I'll say about it. And I think that threw me out of it. And then once you get into the mechanics of how that thing works, I'm not 100% sure the filmmaker knows or at least has communicated it well enough how it's supposed to work, because there are a couple of big inconsistencies there that I think are right there on their face.
Yeah,
but again, it's because you just have a character talking over like a video recording of this is how this works, this is what this does, and this is how it, and then it lost me.
Sorry, I had a big yawn there. I really do think the explanation of, okay, this is why this is happening to this character, I think that specific element, like a cool idea to write a movie around. And then I think because it colors the whole thing as like, wow, this is something that is going to keep happening and until they figure it out. And that's really dark to me, like what's going on. But yeah, there's something in the execution is off, and I can't really know what it is. Like, because that reveal happens that I'm talking about, what, halfway through? Or like
halfway through, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a short movie. It's a very short movie. I think it's under an hour and a half without the credits. So
yeah, and then it becomes more of like a genre thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm talking about Jessica Roth being so committed, because there's this whole other thing going on with her that I'm like, you're really going hard for putting in the work for this role. And I was really impressed at the same time that I'm like, this movie doesn't really give her a lot to do, or not of interesting things to do. It gives her plenty to do. I don't know if it's interesting. It's tough to talk about. We're talking in circles around it. We don't want to give anything away in this mystery-based movie. But I think it's halfway there enough that if it sounds interesting and you like Jessica Roth, you should check it out. But it is kind of disappointing ultimately. And I guess we'll talk about it more on the New Flesh podcast, where we can actually get into the specifics of the premise and why I think it's a cool idea. It's just like, wow, that's a cool dark sci-fi modern potential thing that could be an issue. So I'm 2.5 on affection.
I'm slightly less generous, 2 stars. But I think we obviously both agree Roth is great. And it's not just the emotion of the performance, it's also the physicality. That's
the physicality, the emotion, all of it. I'm just like, why are you committing so hard for this movie that no one's going to see ever?
Because she knows what she's supposed to do. She's a very good actress.
She's a very good actress. Okay. I think it's time for us to do a recap of the 6 movies we reviewed today. I think I can do it without Mark's assistance.
I'm going to send it just in case, just so you have
All right. You stop me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat, 1.5 for both of us. Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, 3 stars from both of us. The Sheep Detectives, 3 stars from both of us. Remarkably Bright Creatures, 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. Couples Weekend, 2.5 from both of us, and affection 2 from Mark, 2.5 from me. So that was a recap of this week's movies. I am now jumping to the comment section on YouTube, where, of course, James Dow celebrated that we're not playing music at the end of the show anymore. He thought the day would never come. Huzzah! How dare you, etc. Carrie Mulligan, 1403, said, "One spoon of chocolate is very clunky and it suffers from similar issues as his last film, Cutthroat City, but I admire its effort to do what Night Patrol should have done, because racist vampires aren't scary, but racist humans are terrifying, because these people live among us. It's been 14 years since Iron Fist, so it's very disappointing that RZA continues to feel like an amateur writer and director, but I certainly felt his anger and passion in these last 2 films, which I respect." Totally agree that you feel the passion, and I totally agree that it's crazy that he still feels like an amateur director when he's made movies for at least 14 years. But he's an incredible musician, producer, composer, and maybe he'll make a great movie one day. What other comments do we have? The person who recommended War Driver said, "I am not the writer of War Driver. I'm a stone cold cinephile. Please don't let War Driver slip by. The score is incredible. The acting's on point. The script is tight. I don't want to set your expectations too high, but it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Please watch War Driver." We gotta watch War Driver.
We have to watch. I have next week isn't that busy, so I think I might actually
squeeze in War Driver.
Squeeze in War Driver.
Okay, I'll try to also, and then we'll tack it on, or we'll do a special live YouTube episode where we
just need to remember. It's hard.
War
It's
Driver.
hard. It's hard to get my brain into it when there's no excuse to watch
I know,
it, like as
exactly.
release wise, because I think it had a digital release alongside the theatrical release.
Yeah, it feels like we're a wasted 90.
And I know
hours.
It's partially my fault that we missed it, just because there was only that one email notification.
Yeah,
but it's only partially my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's a movie that I hadn't heard of until the YouTube people, the commenters brought it up. I mean, somebody fucked up.
I'm just gonna keep the Fandango at Home app open on my phone and to that page, and hopefully I look at it at some point over the weekend.
Yeah. Hopefully check in with us next week. We'll see if we'll do the War Driver special episode.
We could do a live. That would be a good excuse for.
I
think
it's a funny live one. Yeah, we'll just do a review of War Driver. We'll be like, "What is that?" And we'll be like, "Exactly." Halloween
If you
Ends.
know, you know.
If you know, you know. Nelson says the Halloween Ends opening is the best horror opening in ages. Okay, I'm assuming that's because of Hokum and
yes,
Oddity Talk. But yeah, I love the Halloween Ends opening. I think that movie's awesome. Corey Cunningham, good man. He's innocent. Yeah. Hi guys, I forgot to reply to your video a few weeks ago, so I'll do it here. Your review of Lee Cronin's The Mummy made me think of another movie that I thought worked in all the ways the movie that I thought worked in all the ways that movie didn't. That film was The Empty Man. Then that made me think Siskel and Ebert had a segment called Buried Treasure. I know you're busy, but do you think you could occasionally go back over a movie you guys think is worth revisiting in that style of Siskel and Ebert segment? I think The Empty Man fits the mold of a buried treasure. I'll just say, fuck yeah, I think The Empty Man is awesome. I was lucky enough to see that movie in the theater because it did actually open, just didn't have any marketing. Love that movie. It's directed by, what's the guy's name? David Pryor. He's like a Fincher acolyte. Really cool horror movie that didn't get a real release because of COVID. It's become sort of a cult item on Hulu and streaming. Don't think there's a disc for it. But yeah, I mean, I'm open to the idea of like maybe at the end of, I don't know, how often would we do it? One every episode?
That's the thing with those. Like, I really like the Siskel and Ebert stuff that they would do occasionally.
Just like occasionally they would do it.
I think they did. I didn't remember this. I think this was before I started watching the show that they did the buried treasures. I found a couple of them, and they looked like they were full episodes of just.
Oh wow!
And like that's kind of hard. That was easy for them to do when there's like 2 movies coming out. The entire release schedule has changed since back in the day.
That gives us a window though. Like that's a good bonus episode idea.
That
so,
is,
like, if we ever do a Patreon, like that's what it could be. Like buried treasures once a month and something else once a month. Like that's a good idea. So when Mark and I decide we have enough time to do that, that's a great idea.
When we have the time and like the income from stuff is coming in, that it makes sense to put the time aside.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to be that practical, but there is that too. It's like
we have to.
We do have income from other things, so
yes, we have to balance the time accordingly. That's a great idea. What else do we have here? Carrie Mulligan. This is just from last night.
Yeah.
Carey Mulligan said, I just watched Hit Me Hard and Soft twice in a row, and it's wonderful. It's unfortunate that the pandemic prevented most people from seeing The World's a Little Blurry in theaters, which I also watched twice in a row. It perfectly captures Billy's family life along with the ups and downs of rising to become a superstar. At the time, most theaters were closed, so I had to drive 90 minutes to see it on the big screen, despite already watching it on Apple the night before. See, I hadn't even heard of that. So
yeah, it's good. I reviewed it when it came out on
concert
Apple
film or more of
TV.
a doc? Or both?
No, it's more of a documentary.
Okay, cool.
It's
okay.
good.
Well, now I'm interested. So thank you, Carey Mulligan.
Yeah, because if you liked just her persona on stage, that movie is just you can see it is completely sincere. That's just the way she is.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm invested, and I'm glad Carey Mulligan went out and saw it twice last night. That's awesome. Leonard Lopez said, Leonardo Lopez, excuse me. I always do that. If we are going to talk about the best plane crash scenes in film, one that comes to mind is the one from Madagascar, Escape to Africa. It may not be as violent as other plane crash scenes, but the over-the-top and cartoony ways that the plane falls apart is so inventive, and the individual reactions of the characters believing they are falling to their deaths is so funny and in character, and Hans Zimmer's score for the scene adds the danger and comedy of the scene. Truly an all-timer movie plane crash, and one of the most memorable scenes from DreamWorks Animation. I can't recall if I've seen that, because I think I saw Madagascar, but I don't think I was like of age to be like, I gotta go catch the sequel. Despite it being, I'm assuming, a box office sensation and led to the Penguins having spinoffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene at all?
I think a lot of those movies went by me too.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah. So if I check the archives, do you think you have any of those?
I probably don't. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Like, did you not pay as much? Like, I know now you get every kids movie in. Like back then, where you
I tried to, yeah.
Where you
there
just
might have been,
not as,
yeah, it might have,
just not as stringent about it. Like, I don't care about this, so I don't need to see it. Was that
it
more
might
your
have
attitude?
Been. Yeah.
Because I was
I
like,
don't even, when did the first Madagascar even come out? I might
in
not,
my mind, I'm guessing 05. Let me Google it.
That's the other thing. I probably wasn't even.
Yeah,
I took a break for like a couple of years too.
Oh, okay. I didn't even realize there was.
Oh,
a break.
After college, I didn't do as much writing at all. Like just because it was after college and I had to get my life going.
No, for sure. So there seems to be, and there's something for every year, but there's probably a big gap in 05.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's a
05 is much less than others. Very interesting. So we gotta think about all the 2005 movies that Mark hasn't seen and try to recommend them to him, because there must be some 4-star movies in there that Mark.
I still saw a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I should actually maybe what I should do is go back and just fill in. Oh god, no,
that seems like a boring.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
not
the
a boring.
movies I actually saw and just put them in the star
project.
rating. Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh man. Yeah, that's good to know, though. I like learning all the Mark lore. One more comment from Leonardo Lopez. On May 1st, I decided to watch Michael in theaters, and I found it to be a reasonably fun, but ultimately a weak as water musician biopic that puts more of its focus on the songs over both the story and presenting Michael Jackson as a person with flaws instead of a flawless god. 2.5 out of 5 for this person. 2.5 out of 5 moonwalks, excuse me. However, between this and the Super Mario Galaxy movie, we need to have a serious conversation about the whole screw the critics mindset that the general public seems to have now. The way that they try to silence any kind of criticism against this movie is so discouraging and childish, especially since a lot of the criticisms being said by the critics turn out to be correct when you actually watch the movie. Now, was it fun to hear songs like Thriller and Bad in a massive surround sound movie theater? Absolutely. I would be lying if I said I wasn't tapping my feet and bopping my head during the musical numbers, which I said that too, by the way. But is it too much to ask for some substance alongside the fun elements? Fun movies and competent movies are not mutually exclusive. They can be both at the same time. It's like people are entirely okay with movies being of lesser quality as long as they're able to deliver some mindless fun, and that is not how someone should approach films. Honestly, people who shut out justified criticism against movies because they are made for the fans, quote unquote, are genuinely not worth listening to. I think film critics are more credible and trustworthy than they are given credit for, and they deserve more respect than these people give them. Well, totally agree. Thank you, Leonardo Lopez. But I feel like you've stumbled on, I mean, this is definitely a trend, generally speaking, so you're right to say it. But the Michael Jackson fans on Twitter and stuff are like a unique brand of like, if you say the words Michael Jackson on Twitter, they will find you and tell you how wrong you are. So I think it's a unique circumstance here. But yeah, Spike Lee was just talking in the press about how critics didn't understand Michael, or their criticisms were bullshit because the movie ends in 88. So how could it show the allegations? I'm like, well, we talked about why that's a problem.
Yeah, we talked about. Yeah, I think
yeah.
some of it might be a little bad faith when it comes to like saying like, why doesn't this movie address it? It needs to say like, you got to have some kind of perspective on this. Like the movie that we talked about it. The movie that is sanctioned by his family, that has so many Jacksons listed as producers, not to mention the attorney of his estate, who is a major character in the movie. That movie is not going to address the allegations, and you don't want that movie to address the allegations because you know exactly what it's going to do with it.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to find out in the sequel why it was a bad idea to start ringing that bell so early, because we'll see what happens. But I just why bring that up? There's enough wrong with the movie to just ignore even what it leaves out and doesn't need to bring up.
It's a mess. But hey, it's making a lot of money. So,
but we both agreed, like, it is fun, just like Leonardo said, it is fun to sit there listening to the music and watching Jafar Jackson in that performance doing that great imitation. There's something to that. It's just, I don't think it's enough to carry an entire movie.
No. And then, like, if you take it away, if you're trying to like apply the normal structure of a movie to it, it's so funny because it's like, okay, so Michael Jackson was abused by his father, et cetera, and he turned out to be a completely normal, fine person with no adversity. Like it's it ultimately just like sort changes him as a character too in the movie. Anyway, weird movie. But we'll be back next week with the big movie of the week, I guess, is Obsession, a horror film from Neon. And then
it's from Focus. It's not.
Neon. It's Focus. You're right.
Yeah,
it is
Focus features.
Yeah,
it just feels like it would be a Neon.
It has a marketing campaign like a Neon or like an A24, so I really thought it was. But a lot of small movies next week. But there is an Olivier Assayas new movie, The Wizard of the Kremlin. Everything else is a smaller thing. But yeah, those two are Obsession's the only real one that's going to go wide, I feel like. But we'll still have probably 7 or 8. So that's what we do here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.